Welcome to Christian Statesman, Episode 10. I'm your host, Zach Wagner, and in this episode we're going to discuss the big what if of the 2020 election. The whole 2020 presidential election is a mess. We've established that without question. Anyone even remotely paying attention to this has to conclude we have entered unprecedented territory. Emotions are riding high on both sides of the issue. Trump supporters are openly passionate that their man won and Biden cheated his way into a fraudulent vote count. Biden supporters are equally passionate that Trump is a sore loser, or worse yet, a self-absorbed dictator who will predictably refuse to leave office. These positions are creating friction and enmity between previously good-natured American voters. But two enormous what-if questions loom over this whole process. What if Trump is right and the election results were restructured to deliver a false Biden victory? And what if, despite any and all efforts to the contrary, Biden and Harris take office in January? We may all want to take a step back for a moment and look carefully at what the implications would be if these two what-if questions turned out to be true. The first implication, and the most ominous from the viewpoint of representative government, is if both of these do occur, we would never have a free republic again. This weekend on Fox News' Life, Liberty, and Levin, host Mark Levin and Stanford professor and Hoover Institute fellow Victor Davis Hanson discussed the fallout of a Biden presidency. Pointing to the radical people and policies Biden was promising to implement, Hanson indicated the blowback would unquestionably impact the 2022 interim elections, and we would likely see a 2010-like reaction to Biden's radical policies, similar to the major turnaround in the House and Senate after Obama's first 2 years. In Hanson's opinion, with a concurring Levin, we would see conservatives voted back in en masse to Congress. But would we? If the vote count in this election process proves to have been structured artificially in favor of Biden and nothing comes of it, what is restricting Democrats from, quote, voting in, unquote, their candidates into all three branches in every subsequent election to come? The fact is, nothing would stop them from doing this, and we would no longer have elected representation, not that we have it so much as it is now. The individuals taking national office will be appointed from here on out, and we will see a monoparty system with an agenda driven in whatever direction they deem appropriate. If this fraud proved to be real, it must be checked here and now, or this country is done as we know it. Everyone should have concern over this issue, regardless of party or candidate affiliation. Beyond the Constitution-dissolving implications of the first issue, the second and corollary problem will be the effects on the economy. We are already on our knees economically from the COVID lockdowns. Small businesses are failing by the droves. Unemployment initially soared, though it has rebounded somewhat, but is still problematic. If Biden takes office, his radical policies, including future proposed lockdowns to supposedly cure COVID, will finish off what is left of our economy. Small businesses, the heart of the state and local economies outside the large coastal corporate beltways, will be finished. Imagine unemployment rates of 40%, 50%, or worse. We will experience scenarios that made the Great Depression of the 20s and 30s look like a picnic. Further, such economic fallout would trigger a credit crisis similar to 2008 that would see massive failures in both commercial and residential real estate loans, resulting in a real estate market meltdown. The current real estate bubble, along with massive consumer debt and institutional derivative debt, far exceeds any bailout capacity our government can muster. The result is a severe devaluation of the dollar, or the complete collapse of the dollar altogether. If you are a person of faith, now is the time you might want to consider the goodness of God and more esoteric things of the Spirit and of life. This would be our only refuge, as we may witness unemployed fathers and mothers, family providers, losing their homes with nowhere to go in a day of $25 per loaf bread. It is a ghastly scene to contemplate. Prayers for our nation, for the truth to come out, and for wisdom to prevail in our leadership is definitely the order of the day. For should the what-if questions addressed here prove prophetic, the possible downhill trajectory of this nation is all but assured. And no God-fearing, freedom-loving patriot wants to see such a cataclysm.